to the Mulatto Vanguard broadcast. We are on a mission to destigmatize the word mulatto within public consciousness. On this program, we will explore the mulatto identity, news, culture, and history. Join us on our quest to explore identity, history, and culture whilst building a mulatto community. Feel free to hit the like button, share the content, and support the broadcast.
All right, what's going on, guys? Looks like I got a bunch of you up in here, a few of you at least. Guys, go ahead and make yourself useful and hit the like button. Of course, I know I'm going to have a lot of hate watchers. Probably half you are. It's all good. You're here, and that's all that matters. But those of you who are love watchers, go ahead and hit the like button. I know the dude here. Shout out to you, bro, Mulatto Crusader. Yeah, Nick Fuentes. Yeah, we're going to cover something right now, actually, of Fuentes. And of course, he is a Roman Catholic, and we're going to be making some connections between these Catholics, white supremacist Catholics, and their Mestizo, Castizo buffer class that they're using. And of course, Fuentes is a Castizo, just for technical purposes. So we're going to draw some connections with that. And I appreciate you guys being here. So the stream, I titled it The Right-Wing Catholic Mestizo Castizo Agenda. Okay. What is the agenda? What's the whole purpose? They developed a term, they call it Reconquista. The Reconquista. It's basically these like campaigns of Catholic or Christian kingdoms in the Iberian Peninsula to reclaim territory from Muslims, right? They're Islamic, they're battles, they're crusades essentially, but there's a new kind of crusades that they are initiating in the Americas, specifically United States. You can look at the map right here. This is it. It says Mexican origin population by county, right? And of course, I'm in the hot red zone, or I'm from the hot red zone, but sometimes I dip myself in there, in that zone. So I'm heavily acquainted and familiar with this specific subject, just kind of going public with it. Why not? Is it connected with mulattoes? Of course it is. We're going to get into it. But yeah, this is a map. And basically, even if you look at the thumbnail that I shared, there's like a little Pepe the Frog, which is their little right wing kind of, I forgot which exact source and page I found it on X, of course, because that's where they're all at. But the guy in the thumbnail, you can see he's basically saying that like we've already like took it over. They just don't know it yet. And he's showing this map. It's showing like the origin population. But it's funny how like some of them, they're so confident with the bravado, they don't get it. They just don't get it. You know, small-minded, low IQ. You look at a place like South Africa, majority black, but they don't control really the engines of power. Oh, but according to them, the mestizos, because they're special, they're going to basically be like, well, you know, those are the blacks, right? You know, because they're so special, and that's kind of their identity, right? As long as they're better than blacks, they're cool. Right? But they're okay. They see the Asians and Arabs, you know, bossing up, you know, moving billions and shit, negotiating for power. As you see with Iran and these global powers in China, they're competing for power, right? Bossing up on the Anglos, right? See, but they don't care. They're not trying to be on that level. They just want to be underneath the Anglo's ass and sniff it. We're talking about the Crusaders here, these Catholic Mestizo Castizos who are part of this whole white supremacist agenda, as they refer to it as the Reconquista, right? So this is a map for reference. You have it on the thumbnail as well, but yeah, which is kind of weird to understand, right? You get the Southwest from California, Arizona, New Mexico, and then Texas. Yeah, it's funny. Like some of these parts where, yeah, there's none of them there. Like I've driven across this whole country, not the whole country. Let me rephrase that. Most of the country, though. But the part all the way up top that's mostly white, Montana, which, yeah, they don't have a large population. Very beautiful state. I remember I was doing a road trip and I was in Missoula, Montana. Ended up out there, and at the hotel I was staying at, there was like two Mexicans who worked at the hotel, and they were not brown. They were pale skin, but they had black or brown hair and brown eyes. You look at them, you're Mexican. You know, maybe in your homeland where you come from, they call you white. It's funny. I run into some of these people. Like, I've ran into a few Cubans like that, where they think they're white. And I'm looking at you. You're here in the United States. You're in Cal. I'm looking at you like you're not white. You're not Anglo, and you know that. But you just want to kind of like trick the blacks or someone else who's like kind of naive. I don't know, but I'm looking at you like, nah, you're not Anglo, bro. The Anglo, the imperialism of the United States, like, yeah, you're not white. Okay, it's funny because they have this kind of, what they call the purity spiral, and you have that with even within Fuentes' corner of the internet, where they're even kind of G checking him and clowning his ass, say like you're Mexican, dude, and you publicly told the cop as well as a Mexican cop. You're like, I'm not a white supremacist. My last name is Fuentes. Like, you're on camera, on record. Him saying that, and we're gonna watch a clip. It's gonna be connected. Okay. Just want to point this out here. You look at the map here. Yeah, Missoula, Montana. That's majority white. It's a nice state. Say that. I've been to Idaho, and yeah, there's a big difference. I think Montana is more preferred for me, outdoorsy guy, versus Idaho. But out of all those in Northwest, I like Oregon a lot as well. That's mighty white, but you can see it's not super red there. So there are Mexicans there for sure, but it's mostly white. And in California, I'm from SoCal. Like I'm in the red hot zone, right? But when you drive up past Sacramento, which is a capital of California, when you go into these other like cities out there, like what do you have? Weed. There's a town called Weed there, and you have like Mount Shasta, giant mountain there in California, NorCal, and some of these other neighborhoods. I forgot, like is it Redding? I think it's called Redding out there. Yeah, these are mostly white. It's funny because you drive up the state, you have to stop to get gas, and yeah, as soon as I pass like, even when I'm at Sacramento, whatever, you pass that, like everything is like mostly white up there, in Northern California. And then you get into Oregon, then you get into like either Washington State, whatever, Idaho and all that. Yeah, it gets very, very white majority in these places. But the southwestern region, as you can see in the red, and they're highlighting here Mexican origin, which mostly you're going to have is these Mexicans who have assimilated into whiteness. That's why you have these Castizos running around, like the Fuentes is running around, right? Just for a little background there, we're going to get into that. So shout out to all of you, the love watchers, and of course the hate watchers as always. Because to be honest or not, you guys boost me in the algorithm. Even the hate watchers. You want to know why? Because you tell your little punk fucking friends, this guy's talking shit about us. Watch him. You share my stream with your fucking fools, friends and shit, and they watch my shit. You guys share, you share, and you're boosting my profile. That's the whole purpose. So it's appreciate you guys, the love and the hate. So yeah, I pulled this source here from Fruity Entes right here, but yeah, he's gonna tell on himself right here. So I'm gonna play this one first because he cosplays as a white guy, as a white man, but the white men tell him, bro, but you're fucking Mexican, aren't you? We seen your sister, she's brown as fuck. We seen your dad and your grandfather. Your lineage comes from like brown, like American Indian, like Mexicans, bro. Like you're not the guy that should be kind of quote unquote leading the movement, America first. But the problem is here, buddy, is you're a Mexican and you're gay as well. Okay. But you see right here, someone puts Nick Fuentes says handsome young white men are God's gift to the world. I don't know why he says handsome, and that's why the gay shit, the rumors are on him. You should say white men with integrity, white men with dignity, white men who are noble, okay, white men who have a sense of purpose and destiny. No, he's not. He's going to say handsome. What a fucking fruitcake. You know, he's putting here handsome. What the hell does that have to do with anything? They look good. You're going to go to fucking battle and war. Nobody gives a shit about your looks. You're going to have to fight. And that's it. But he's, yeah, whatever. He says, people are going to say it's gay, but it's simply a truth. It is gay because you're already like on record. Let me play the clip. Listen to this fool.
To all of my handsome young white men out there, God's gift to the world. People are going to say that's gay, but it's just simply true.
Yeah, people are going to say it's gay because it is. Because you put the word handsome there. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? You a good person or not? Do you contribute to society or not? This handsome shit, that's, I don't know. That's, yeah.
Young white men out there, God's gift to the world. People are going to say.
Every person that contributes to society is a gift from God. Obviously, we have shitty, horrible people. Some people will say, I'm one of them. Some people say he's one of them, right? It's all opinion based, but just in general, most people, I love people. So in general, most people are good. So I would say most people are a gift from God. But of course, his market, his niche is pandering to the, you know, the guys who kind of, they don't have a sense of purpose. They're trying to find their destiny purpose. And that's on them to figure it out.
Say that's gay, but it's just simply true. To all of the handsome white men, the world is our oyster. We are masters of the universe and
he's cosplaying, saying we, us, we. Yeah, sure.
Always have been.
You look the part, I give you that. But what about your brown sister, though? Does she look the part? I don't know.
We are the geniuses. We are the architects, the innovators, the artists.
Yeah, the artists. You have artists of every background, right? And architects. Interesting, like even with architecture, you look at just around the globe, the type of accent, if I can say, or style of architecture, whether it's in the Middle East, whether it's in Asia, right? So, yeah.
Throughout history, some people don't count me among them. Fine. It's you guys then. Fine. Thank God for you guys.
You see that? So he's saying some people, a lot of people, they don't count you among them. But he's like, okay, let me just glaze you guys. It's you guys then. He's giving you all the praise, you guys. Like he's in a subordinate position. But look at him. He's a little grifter. He's making his coin. You know, it's cool. It's cool because he positioned himself as being kind of a victim of the Matrix. You know, there's a couple airliners that won't let me on the airliner and I can't use PayPal. You're a Holocaust denier. You poke fun at, you know, a group of people who are like well connected and they do good business with each other. And so they're going to cut you out the market and then you cry about it. Like you kind of should have known who you're fucking with, basically. But yeah, it's the grift that keeps on grifting, right? This is him right here. Yeah, that's it. That's the clip. Now, the main thing I want to talk about is this. Some guy's channel says, oh, Mega Groiper. Whatever reason, this shit pops up on my feed. And he's kind of I don't want to say like a foe of Fuentes, basically. But he uses the term Groiper, right? I guess he's just mocking Fuentes and shit. AF, which is American first, whatever. He puts Groiper with the little dumb frog. He puts Catholic there because that's part and parcel because Fuentes is a Roman Catholic, just as most Mexicans. You saw the map, the crossing the border. Most of them are Catholic. Their allegiance is to the Pope. Their allegiance is to Italy. Their allegiance is to Europe, right? By way of the Pope, not the Anglos. They'll be in bed with them and act like they're their friend to get more numbers, to assimilate, to get more power, but their allegiance is with the Pope, right? And yeah, that's why you see the Catholic thing. And I'm going to draw the connection too, because even on, I did a short video I uploaded, right? Where this one Mexican who was talking about deport these mulattoes in Madagascar. You notice he had the Vatican flag in his bio. You notice that Catholic connection. You notice that, right? Let's get the mulattoes out of here. Get them out of Mexico and send them to Africa. And he's like, he's a Catholic. Interesting. Who are the first ones to stop on the shores of West Africa and Ghana, the Gold Coast, right? Portuguese, right? They're Catholics. They were getting funded by the Catholics, by the Vatican, right, to initiate this new industry of human trafficking. So it was the Catholic institution, the slavery, right? It was them. And you still see that same remnants today when you look at these Catholics from Mexico who still have these same attitudes. And this is a Fuentes guy type. He's one of their kind of spokespersons per se. This is the main clip I want to get into. This guy spills the beans. He clipped one of Fuentes' live streams or whatever. This is interesting shit. This is very interesting. The guy puts right here, this is Nick Fuentes saying that the American First movement is a Latino movement. Of course. Most of your little, you know, groypers or gapers, whatever, they're all like fucking Hispanics. LARPing is white. They're all Catholic Hispanics, Castizos and all that shit, of course. Ben known that. And this is June 4th, so not too long ago, last week. Let's check this out.
When we win, this is going to be the Empire of Guadalupe Hidalgo. Okay, when we win, hey, when we win, once we, you know, everybody goes, dude, your last name's Fuentes. When the Nazis win.
It's not only that your last name is Fuentes, your family's brown as fuck, bro, except for your mom, right? We look at your dad, we look at your sister, you know, we look at your grandfather. We're like, bro, you come from brown people that are Mexican. Like, yeah, you're mostly European. We get that. But what about your family? And I pointed this out. I think I put a couple comments on X as well, kind of laughing because Fuentes calls people brown clowns. That's their new kind of like term or slur they're using for brown. They call people shit skins and people call them, you know, cum skins. So it's all good. But like you're calling people, for this guy to call people a brown clown, you look at his sister, his dad, his grandpa, we're like, bro, your family's brown, bro. Like, I don't understand the logic here. Like, how are you throwing your family under the bus? Like, you know, but you know, you're getting paid, so it makes sense. Yeah. You're interviewing Tucker Carlson, all these powerful players. Tucker Carlson's interviewing Vladimir Putin, interviewing Trump. So you get to interview the people who are interviewing the big dogs, like running, you know, global policy. And you're a Catholic, and Trump, I'm sure, is connected with the Catholics, and just like all of them, they're all. Let's get more into this. Let me play this.
You're getting the rope. It's like, no, you don't understand. The alt-right is a Latino movement. When we win,
right? You think he's joking or being serious? It says the alt-right is a Latino movement. Interesting. I wonder what the white boys feel about that, right? But you know, they're useful idiots. They're tools, right? They're guard dogs. They're useful, and we're going to get into this. We're going to get very deep into this because ultimately, as long as they acquiesce and they know their place, it's fine, right? But they have to give the whites something, so they give them their women. It's an exchange for political power and kind of a handshake, a cultural handshake. It's like, yeah, we know you're fucking illegal, whatever, you're brown, whatever, you're Mestizo, you're not Anglo, that's cool. But you know, give me your woman, okay, and then we'll kind of look the other way. That's the arrangement they have. I'm gonna share with you guys some receipts on that. And the end result is this fucking guy here, Fuentes. You got the Castizo. That's the end result of that kind of exchange, where this guy calls people brown clown. He throws his whole damn family under the bus. For what? For what though? And you complain and cry about the Jews, but you're picking fights with people. It's like not in your best interest to. I don't, but I guess because you're so smart, I guess the whole government is like funding people. You're trying to fuck with them, okay?
and the Nazis, it will be the white skinheads who will be fed into the gas chambers of the Empire of Guadalupe Hidalgo. Yeah.
You hear him saying that? It's the white skinheads who will be fed into the gas chamber. See that? He's talking about, oh, the white right is a Latino movement. Oh, not surprising me.
Hey, it will be Mestizo. Yeah.
Yep, he's saying it's be Mestizo. Yeah, that's the population that you can easily hoodwink to fall in line. Of course, their goal is to assimilate and create people like you, right? Castizos. They got this whole hierarchy, the Spanish, you know, casta system, right? And this guy's basically the kind of the last step end result until you get to full whiteness, basically. So in other regards, you have like I'm a mulatto, then you have someone who's like a quadroon, right? Okay. So on the flip side, a quadroon, like 25% African, you got a guy like this is like, I don't know, like 20%, 25% American Indian, Fuentes here. That's kind of like the last step into pure whiteness, basically, a simulation, okay?
Yeah. It will be Mestizo shock troops that will be rolling your heads down Neo pyramids.
The funny thing about that is no one will ever accept Mestizo leadership or rulership. Everyone just gets the fuck away from you. They just move. See you later, sayonara, hasta luego, or adios, basically. Fuck out of here, bye. Nobody with dignity or integrity would accept your rulership. They're like, this guy's not my boss. He doesn't make the rules. See you later. I'm going over here. That's the thing. Like, you know, it'll never get to that point because everyone's just going to get the fuck away from you. Okay. And you can have your own little spot where you kill each other, rob each other, and you guys flee those places anyways. That's why we have all this immigration in America, these Anglos, build the wall, build the wall. Where's your wall at? All that money they're using to fund fucking Israel, you know, talking about build the wall. But the whole thing is, it's like they leave their own damn country, you know, to come to my homeland where my people are from. Okay. That's the hilarious part. It's like you guys are killing each other in your own spot and you come to America and then you want to imitate the blacks and listen to your Chicano rap and you want to kill each other and shit as well. Whatever, man. The whole thing I'm saying here is that no one will ever accept you as being their leader or their boss or a manager. They'll sit there and laugh like, no, I'm going to go start my own business, move over here, start my own community, the fuck away from you. That's literally how it is. I mean, any self-respecting man operates like that.
We will be building pyramids out of metal and glass, out of modern building materials, carbon fiber pyramid with solar panels. Mestizo Neo Jaguar shock troops will be cutting your heads off and rolling them down the pyramids.
And they're down with him, remember, because he's whiter, and that's the goal, right? That's their goal to kind of, what's a term they use? Ascension is a term I've heard. I barely heard that a few like months ago. Someone brought it to my attention because you have some of these, you know, wacky ass mulattoes or whatever the fuck they are, quadroon, whatever, talking about ascension, right? You know, becoming more European. You have this gay ass like lookism shit. You know, this guy, what's this guy's name? Clavicure, whatever. You guys heard of him, right? Yeah, put that guy in a cage or a ring or something, man. Like he needs to have another a dude in front of him with an attitude, and he's got to get, you know, put to test. Because I don't know, the pretty boy shit. I don't know, bro. If you want to be a model, that's cool, but I'm not with all that lookism shit. You guys are too fucking weak for me.
To the furnaces of the Empire of Guadalupe Hidalgo. So, you know, the NS, they think they're using us Mexicans who make up the majority of the alt-right movement.
And he's saying it right there. He's saying the NS, which is National Socialist. And he's saying, oh, they think that they're using the majority of us Mexicans who make up the alt-right movement. Isn't that funny? They're spilling the beans, literally, pun intended. They're spilling the beans, letting you know that their whole entire movement, like their foot soldiers and bootlickers, are these mestizos, Mexicans. And this guy's literally telling you right now. Hilarious.
It's going to be a rude awakening for them.
This is your boy right here. See any comments? I wish I was Latinx. You got think of this shit. This dude's got tacos and Modelo. Damn. Yeah. Wow. I see you got the haters in the comment section. I appreciate that. You hoes are always on deck, and I love it when my hoes are on deck. So yeah, got something else I want to share with you. Let me post this right here. Yeah. kind of solidifying what I've already reiterated, more proof of this kind of movement you have here, right? You get this kind of like Quetzalcoatl type of feathered, whatever. And with the swastika right there. This is the iconography they're sharing, the imagery they're sharing. And of course, like even with the map I showed you with the Reconquista, they have right here, like it's like some Mexican guys that look jacked, whatever, at the border. And it looks like they have like this caricature of a black Negro here with like, looks like a blunt in his mouth or whatever. And then some like fat person in the middle looking down and shit. Like I'm telling you, like when they move to these areas, like people move out. Like most of America is land that's not settled. Yeah, people moved all the way west and shit because there were gold and minerals and stuff there. But like you go to places like Utah, Nevada, Wyoming, Montana, which I've been, all these places, like most of the land is like not settled. What's going to happen is like once these people move into these neighborhoods and these areas, the property value goes down, number one, crime goes up, and people just move the fuck away from them. They don't want to live next to them. Yeah, and there you go. And I shared this already, right? Yeah, similar. I'm just letting you know, you see these references here. Someone put here, Hitler literally used y'all as an example of the danger of mongrelization. The funny thing is because they're all mixed race people, right? Mestizos, right? But they claim that they're pure or that they're going to help the Anglos fight against the Jew, which is funny because Anglo serves the Jew, that's the best part about it. But supposedly they're going to try to fight for their position underneath their white daddy's ball sack. And that's kind of what they're leading with this pro kind of like NS, as he referred to it as, National Socialist kind of symbolism here. They're jockeying for position within that adjacency and power structure. But yet they claim to not be tools, or they're so foolish they don't understand that you're the fucking tool. And the guy puts here, mongrelization. The reason why, because a lot of them, they think they're like monoracial or something. They think they're white, or they think because they're monocultural, whatever. They look at you mulattoes as only being the mixed people for whatever reason, like within the kind of mixed conversation. It's like they look at mulattoes, us, as being the quintessential mixed group, right? Because they have a slur for us. They call us mutts. But yet Fuentes would be a mutt. And I think he called Sneeko a mutt too, which I thought was pretty funny. But it's like, Fuentes, you're literally a mutt. And they're even calling these people Mestizos and Mexi mutts and stuff. Like they're mixed people, right? They're Spanish, Iberian, and they're Indian. Like they're not pure anything. They're a created race from 5 centuries ago. There were Indians, Aztec, Maya, Inca, you name it, that got raped, killed, okay? And they amalgamated a new race called Mestizo. So, but whatever reason, they think they're kind of pure or something. That's the kind of best part, Look at the dude here. Look at Juan. He's like, yay, yes, soy blanco, Holmes. Pinche negro, Holmes. Mi soy blanco, Holmes, right? And that's kind of, that's what you run into. Like, but they think they're kind of pure, but it's like, you guys are mixed up. I don't understand, like, where you think, like, you can suck white cock all you want, but you're still mixed and you're still brown and you're still Mexican. I don't understand, like, this jockeying for position. How is that helping anybody else out? Someone puts right here, Irma Presley, Mexicans can't end the drug trade in their own country, but they want to invade the U.S. Well, they just, a lot of them just want to make money and live next to whites, feel safe, right? Interesting. Yeah. So this is just one reference, guys. I'll share all this stuff here. I don't know. This person's page here, you click on it. It says Collectivo Mexican, Homeland, Sovereignty, and Order. Third position. One of these third positionists, right? Homeland and Sovereignty and Order. What homeland? What homeland? Click on their bio. It says account based in the United States. A pro-Mexican account that's based in the United States. So they talk about, homeland sovereignty, and with the Mexican flag, this is the fucking confusion, identity confusion. You're waving another country's flag in my fucking country. Everyone knows like your dual allegiance. It's hilarious. No one can trust you. I told you, people want to move the fuck away from you. I don't get it. Like, and they're so oblivious to this reality. You see, you have the Mexican flag. You're talking about you're conservative. You're a Catholic. Okay, homeland sovereignty. We have the Mexican flag. Like, why don't you go back to where you come from? Why don't you go back over there? Do everyone a favor. Account based in the United States. So you're in the U.S. with another nation's flag. Like, this is why Trump wins elections. Everyone knows Trump is a fucking criminal. He's a fucking idiot too. That's number one. He's rich as fuck, but he's compromised. He's a puppet to the global oligarchs. He's a fucking idiot and corrupt. But he gets elected. People still vote for him. Stupid, dumb whites, stupid, dumb blacks, stupid, dumb Mexicans. They still vote for the guy knowing he's a fucking crooked criminal. It's because of people like you. They want to get your ass the fuck up out of here. Dual allegiance. You got a Mexican flag, but yet your account is based in the United States. What's up with that? What's up? You're so proud of who you are. Go back to where you come from. Please, just do us that favor. Make it easier for us. And what kind of sparked this conversation with me to kind of go in this direction, I guess I could say, was I saw a clip from Tate. Like, I don't know when was someone else like reshared it. This is May 22nd, so like a couple weeks ago. Someone else shared this clip of Tate, and I talked about it on one of my live streams with a couple other mulatto cats who were on the panel. And Tate's doing what he does. He trolls or whatever. But he makes a statement that offends a lot of the Mexicans, which rightfully so. If I was them, I'd probably be offended. He put here smartest race whites. And of course, the Ashkenazis, Jews, they're peak white, of course. Okay. And you got strongest physical race blacks, which people would disagree and argue. People would say whites are the strongest, blacks are the fastest. And it depends on who you talk to. It says most organized race, Chinese. Yeah, I guess. And he puts here, Mexicans have nothing. That's just a caption, but we're going to listen to the clip here. I shared it, like I said earlier. These are all their words, his words, not mine. All right, just for clarification. Play the clip.
5 races in the world. The smartest race are the whites. The most organized race are the chinks.
And of course, he's using slurs there, trying to provoke people, right?
In fact, no, the whites are pretty organized too.
The whites are so organized, they're letting all these browns into their country. But it's not their fault. Oh my God, they got to find someone to blame. Who they blame? They blame the Jewish person, right? Got to find someone to blame. No, the whites welcome in all the Mexicans because they want the women. We're going to talk about that. We're going to go deeper into that. They want to play stupid and like have a scapegoat that's built in. They have an agreement. They just want the Mexican males to know their fucking place and be docile. Okay. But they want access to the women, right? That's why they kind of welcome them in. It's a trade-off, right? It's also a position of getting cucked. When you offer your women to this group, you're allowing yourself to be absorbed. We talk about absorption in these spaces, the Bantu absorption, right? You mulattoes who want to continue to act black, you think you're cool with your hip hop and all this shit. And, and your history gets stolen from you. Everything you do that's good, they claim it as their own. And they want to sit there and talk shit about your ass and say, not like us, And you do it to yourself because you're not holding people accountable, right? Let me continue on.
But the chinks are very hardworking. And the strongest physical race are the blacks. You'll notice the Mexicans have nothing.
He said the Mexicans have nothing. Shout out to the homegirl here. Shout out to the homegirl, Tim. He says, do people still take this idiot seriously? He got his ass whooped so much for being a kickboxing champ. Well, what about Canelo Alvarez? He got the fucking brakes beat off of him by 2 shorter black guys, 2 black guys that were shorter than him. Boxed his fucking face up. You got Floyd Mayweather and Terrence Crawford. These are the blackest guys, out there. The best boxers, right? Shorter than him. and smaller than him too. They went up a weight class to fight Canelo. Mayweather's went up a weight class, had to gain some weight to fight the bigger Mexican, box his fucking face off. Same thing with Crawford. He went up a weight class to accommodate the fat fucking Mexican, okay? And he still punched his face in, box him up, make it look like a sparring match. That's the funny part, you know, where you're sitting there like, you're talking about Tate got his ass whooped. I don't give a shit. I'm not a Tate follower, supporter. He's sharing information that draws all of you cockroaches out of the woodworks, and we're further examining that. That's the key point here. But he's in the ring. Are you in the ring, Tim? Do you compete or anything? Like, are you in the ring competing with other men in a masculine endeavor? Or you're just gonna clown the guy on the computer or something like that? Because the dude actually fought. You can say anything you want, but the dude actually fought. So yeah, so don't try to act special, Tim. But since you're helping me out in the algorithm, I'll let you kind of cheerlead and twerk down there. It's all good, homie.
Nothing. Their countries fucking suck. I am rich and could go anywhere. And you know where I never want to go? To anywhere in South Mexico.
Yeah.
Fuck Chile. Fuck Venezuela. Fuck Nicaragua.
So yeah, he's gonna piss off a lot of people with this, and that's kind of the intent. This is he's like a rage baiter, right? But we're gonna check out some of the comments because he kind of, you know, he drew some people out, and they're letting you know how they feel.
Fuck Honduras. Fuck Mexico. Fuck Paraguay. Fuck all of it. No, I don't want to go there. Tacos, burritos. Bro,
well, the funny thing is, you think about it, the countries he named, I've been to a few of them. But a lot of people there, like, they don't even want to be in those countries. They're trying to leave. They're jumping on banana boats to come to America so they can clean toilets for their white massa or pick strawberries or whatever the hell they're doing, or sell their ass on the street like that or whatever. Like, that's the thing. Like, they're leaving their homeland to come to the U.S. So it's like, why are you going there? I mean, a lot of these places, their economies are basically there. So I've said this before. So white people can go down there and, you know, just kind of live it up, you know, live it up on the cheap. You know, that's kind of what it is, you know. A lot of these countries, their GDP, you know, is based upon that, on white Americans throwing some dollars around, you know.
Got Doritos right here in my house. I'm in Romania. We've taken your best shit already. Cool Ranch. I got your shit, bruv. I ain't going there. All the girls are just like fucking, bro, I hate men, passport bros who go to South America.
The thing is that he's talking about passport bros, but it's these whites have been there forever and will always be there. You know, but see, it's the black guys kind of get thrown under the bus. They get scapegoated, and that's typical. Especially, he has an American flag back there and shit. That's an American tradition, is scapegoating black men specifically. When the white guy does the same shit, no one says anything. Like in Thailand, the Philippines, all over Asia, it's the same thing. Like, no, like that whole label with the passport bro thing is because a lot of these guys, because they lack self-esteem, they broadcast all of their conquest, right? So they get thrown on a bus, and obviously because the Mexicans, you know, whatever, even Hispanics in the DR, the Mestizos, I need to say, in the DR, they get jealous and shit. They want to click up with Mexicans, right, and cry and complain, suck off whites, vote for Trump, get screwed, still complaining, you know. It's yeah, and you look at their countries, all the crime and shit and immigration, you're like, Jesus Christ, you should be lucky you have a tourism market that's kind of keeping everything afloat, because it's people just go somewhere else, man. There's a big planet, big planet out here. People can go somewhere else, you know. Somewhere else is going to get popping. So you should be lucky people are actually supporting your economy, spending money. But you want it all to yourself. Nah. Well, then you go fucking back to where you come from and go take care of it. But you guys want to come to where we live at. This is my country. You want to come to my country. You're a fucking immigrant. You're a Catholic. You don't speak, your first language isn't English. You want to come to my country and complain when I go to your country. Nah, that's not how it works. You're coming to my country. So guess what? I'm going to go to your country and fucking live it up. What the fuck are you going to do about it? Nothing. You're going to complain, jump in my comment section like a fucking hoe and cry and complain. That's all you're going to do. The balls, though, right? See, they want to double dip. They want to go to your country, your neighborhood, and act like they run shit. When you go do that back to where they come from, they want to fucking cry. You guys see the hypocrisy? They actually think they got some power or influence out here. They want to boss up on you and shit. Well, you're a passport, bro. Don't come to my country. Nah, bro. I'm going to be dropping fucking seeds everywhere I go. And there's nothing you're going to do about it. You're going to cry and complain. So what? Good for you. Keep crying. Okay, that's your position. You cry and I win. That's it.
The women in Colombia are so feminine. Bro, you're broke. If you're rich and you're a passport bro, you're in Moscow or Dubai with a Ukrainian Barbie doll. There is no way on God's green earth any straight man believes that Latinas are more attractive than Ukrainian Barbies. Blue eyes, blonde hair, perfect bodies. Listen.
The thing is, though, Tim, is we all know that you're nothing without the white man's nuts in your mouth. Like, you always have to call on that white boy. Like, you're nothing. That's your backup plan. You got to call on him to help. I've been seeing it for years. It's always that. When the energy gets matched and the pressure is applied, you're always going to run to that Anglo. Always. Game is being exposed, homies. I don't know. You always get all uppity and cry. I love that shit. But, you help me in the algorithm. Make sure you share this shit with your homegirl, Kim or whatever her name is.
That's impossible to believe Latinos are better. You're just broke. You can't go and catch a Ukrainian 10 because you need to be a multimillionaire. You can't go to Moscow and get a Russian 10. You can't compete in the dating market in Dubai because you haven't got a Bugatti. You're broke. So you go to fucking Caracas, Medellin, and pick up some fucking hooker with her flat feet and shit fucking boy hands. Hasn't even got a manicure, no Dior, stinks like fucking.
Yeah, and he's going all over the place, but that's kind of, he's a shock guy. This meme right here is crazy. Damn, I follow this account, but yeah, this is crazy. Okay, this guy made this meme right here. I don't know. Since we're here, might as well explore it. Why not? He puts here how to cope with your subhumanity as a Mexi mutt. The guy who's running this account's an Indian guy, brown Indian, whatever, and they're calling you guys mutts. That's the hilarious part. But typically, traditionally, they want to use that slur for us mulattoes. But we're looking around, people who are sucking off whites, like they're getting called mutts and they're getting called shit skins, and we're sitting there like, interesting. What's up with the POC coalition? I thought people of color, you fruity ass fucking leftists still want to use this whole POC label out here, which is kind of hilarious because you look at the tribalism we see right in front of our eyes, like, okay, where's your mulatto tribe at? That's the whole point why I'm here. And I got the mulattoes here in the chat. Always the mulattoes support and hold it down. And that's the whole thing is like, okay, the mulattoes are here. We're talking. But it's funny because a lot of these Mexicans, okay, mestizos, whatever, they're going to call mulattoes mutts, right? Because that's what they learned from their Bantu massa and their Anglo massa, right? Because they go either way, right? They want to act cool with the whites, they want to act cool with the fucking blacks, and they want to listen to Kendrick, and they want to talk shit about Drake and biracials. They're mad because the women, they fuck with us, right? That's what it always is. So, but yeah, now these people are calling you guys mutts now. They're calling y'all mutts. And sounds like this Iberian fucking fruitcake guy. It's crazy. Even the women are like clowning her ass, bro, all over TikTok and shit. And it sounds like you, yeah, because you push that narrative. You don't like American women, yeah, but most of the chicks that I'm with are American. All the women literally I talk to are American. With this mulatto stuff, I'm global, so I'm like international. I have friends and allies around the planet, sure, but like hates American women. Like, where's like you sound like that Iberian guy? And dude, I got some more receipts on that fucking fool. It's sad. It's sad. it's embarrassing, but I want to save that for later because I got some other interesting stuff. But it's yeah, hates American women, yet most of the women you talk to and all this. Yeah, okay, cool. You put here cope about an artificial culture. We're traditional, hardworking. Yeah, the Catholic, that's the thing we're going to circumvent and we're going to revisit, of course, on this stream. What are we already 48 minutes into that? Biracial should go around the planet. He says, why should biracials go to DR? Why not? Why not? Like, that's the funny thing. Can you, Joel Santana is probably that, fruity, Blaxican. Why don't you tell us why biracials should not go to the Dominican Republic? Why don't you tell us why not? Why don't you jump on the panel? Actually, let me share it. I'm going to share the, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to hear your fruity voice. You're going to be the fucking fruity Blaxican. You want to embarrass yourself, go ahead and hit that link for me. And tell us why biracials should not go to DR. Most Dominicans are going to be like, hey, come over here, support the economy, support the businesses there. I get so much love from Dominicans. You guys are a bunch of fucking Mexicans in my chat. Tim Asuna, Joel, you're a Blaxican. Like, you guys aren't even Dominican. But see, this is that pro-Mestizo, pro-Hispanic shit where their whole identity is just being anti-Black. That's their whole identity, This guy's like, oh, nah, man, they hate you. They hate you. Cool. Yeah, cool story. You'd know, Tim. You're a Mexican. Okay, you're not Dominican. But I just, the question here I'm trying to see is like, okay, the guy puts here, you're trying to tell Americans, biracials, to go to the DR. But, like, why not? If you're an American biracial, you should go to England. You should go to Brazil. You should go. I know Day wants to hop on the panel, but you know what, Day, you can jump on. And I sent the link out only for this fool, Joel Santana, whatever. I think I know who it is, which we're going to be clowning your ass this whole year. You keep talking a bunch of shit on TikTok, and it's your other little Iberian queens who are basically throwing your ass under the bus. That's the pathetic part about it, honestly. But I got some more important stuff to talk about right here, so I'll get into that later. But shout out to you, Day. I'm not gonna let you up right now, bro. I got some more stuff to cover. But it's funny how like this guy is trying to discourage you men from going to other countries and connecting with people. Like, that's business. That's global business. We're globally connected. He wants you to stay because he's broken shit. He can't fucking travel the world. That's what it is. I've been to Africa. I've been to Europe. I've been to the Caribbean. I've been to Central America, South America. I haven't been to Asia yet. But it's like the first country I've ever been to was Africa, was a country, Ghana, in Africa. Okay. And then I went to Europe. Well, actually, no, the first country I've ever been to is Mexico when I was a kid. Then I went to Canada, okay, right out of high school. And then I went to Ghana, West Africa, when I was in college. And then I went to Europe. So it's like, I wasn't even looking down your way or DR or nothing. Okay, these people are trying to sidetrack me from the message, and that's the purpose of why they're there. Let me continue on. Yeah, we have great food. Yeah, their food's good. Yeah, the panocha's good too. Yeah, and that's why they're mad. Deflect to other Latinx groups, right? It's the Cubans, Venezuelans, Guatemalans, right? Deflect to other races, says it's the Jews, right? It's the Jews, it's the Indians, it's the Blacks, it's the Muslims, right? Somalis, right? Compare with Blacks. At least we're better than the Blacks. That is literally their entire identity. Their entire identity, not even the Catholicism. Their entire identity is, well, at least I'm not a Black person, right? He puts here, white people be racist and shit. They be oppressing us. We're going to take over, and there's nothing you can do about it. People just bounce. When you're there, they just kind of bounce. They're like, yeah, it's not good. And Base Mexican puts, he's right. Mexicans would rather work for someone else than start their own empire. The furthest we get is Mexican store, taco shop, or mechanic shop, tire shop. And he's a based Mexican too, right? And he's got the Catholic flag. You see that? See that? Mexican flag first, not the American flag. Although he was born in the USA. You guys find that funny, right? That dual allegiance. He's born in the US, is his country, right? I'm not going to take that away from him. But the American flag's not first. You know the flag that's first? The Mexican flag. And of course, what's his religious background? He's a Catholic. There you go. There you go. The proof is in the pudding, right? So some of these people, you know, they kind of showed themselves. Like there's a couple comments. Let me see where I got here. Someone here puts, as a Mexican, I take no offense. I feel blessed and feel bad. All the other races will never get to experience how it feels to be Mexican. I felt what it's been like to be a Mexican. Yeah, they got pretty women. So yeah, I felt that for sure. I know what's up. I wouldn't want to have any other culture, sure. And here we go. Yeah, and they're like, oh, he's like, any Mexican handyman is capable of kicking this guy. Yeah. You had someone in the chat saying the same thing. Oh man, you can't box or something cool. Yeah, by the way, we're over here. Why don't you guys follow me on X as well, where I'm more kind of unfiltered and shit over there. Go follow me over on X. Yeah, another reference here. Mexicans are great at boxing, something this cuckold, fake tough guy failed at, sure. And yeah, who's this cat here? He's an FBA. Looks like a mixed nigga to me. Health over wealth, FBA. But see, he's got the American flag first versus you talk to the Mexican American. They got the Mexican flag first and they're Catholic. So there you go. He's one of these mixed niggas, one of these mulatto niggas, the FBA mulatto. There you go. Saying Mexicans are the hardest workers. You're saying that because you're banging Mexican chicks. We know your game. All you FBAs and shit who are caping like that, we already know it's because you're banging Mexican chicks. Look at, you know, that's what it is. And the Chinese are the smartest. Okay, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah. So I don't know. I can share these references with you guys. Share the clip, but yeah, there's a couple comments I saw, but I think since then, a lot of people put more comments, and they got Canelo, right? Yeah. Shout out to Canelo. He put Jews are the smartest, which they are. That's why they get a lot of hate from like the dumb whites, you know, because the dumb whites are mad that the Ashkenazi whites are smarter than them, right? Yeah. Here we go, right here. Got it. Okay. Says, let me highlight this comment. You guys can see that. Let me actually expand it because I think I can tell the text was a little too minimized. He puts right here, mixed race mutts, no identity, midwits, given very little, extremely divided, can't build, LOL. Which is one of these burner accounts, right? Yeah, and someone's making arguments because these strongman competitions, usually it's like white guys, right? But then again, it's like I pick stuff up and I put it down and it's different. I don't know. If it can translate to a punch or fighting or something, that's where, to me, it makes sense. The guy puts here, Mexicans have millions of whites by their nuts with drugs and debt, and the Aryan Brotherhood has to perform hits for LA or La M, which is Mexican mafia. If it wasn't for Mexicans, the alphas of the white race would have been exterminated. Whites need the Aryan Brotherhood for street muscle because politicians will not. Interesting. His big homie is a Mexican guy talking. Yeah, of course, he's got the fucking Mexican flag. He's talking hood politics, y'all. Old dude talking these prison politics and shit. He's a Chilean flag though as well. So when he's pro-Hispanics, saying get dirty Aryan Brotherhood has a lot to pull, paid off politicians, cops, judges, prosecutors. So whites need the Mexican mafia to survive. After all, it was Aryans who asked for the allegiance because the blacks had them cornered. Only in California. Everywhere else, the Mexicans let them fend for themselves. Interesting. Yeah, California politics right there, but that's prison politics. The big homie right here, the big homie. And Andrew Tate looks Mexican, yeah. So I'm not finding what I'm looking for on this thread here. Here we go. Tate is a half-breed. N-word and anti-race mixing. Let's check out that profile because the United States, sure, definitely. I'm not even black. You effing weirdos want to expose myself to degenerate sites. And just one of these weird, anti-black page. Basically, black dudes are the gayest, most sensitive, right? So yeah, I don't know. Nothing useful there. That's it. I'm gonna move on from this because we got here, it says, yeah, because that's exactly what Carlos Slim did to Enrique Lores. Bunch of fools listening to this half-breed that's full of ish. We got a Mexican apologist here. He's saying, you're a half-breed, Andrew Tate. You a half-breed. Where's the account based in? United States. Okay, and that's just a burner account, nothing relevant. Yeah, okay, I'm not finding what I'm looking for. So let me move on from that so I'm not wasting your guys' time. There, yeah. Interesting stuff. So the whole thing is that the going back to this border situation we have here, they use this and they claim they're gonna reconquer. They're gonna reconquer the United States. They got this border right here, right? Or this map, I should say. But you look at the border, the south border, I should be more specific. The highlight in red is where it's the density, right, of people of Mexican descent. But you could be a lot of mixed people, right? Obviously. You got a guy fighting in a couple days for the White House who's one of these Castizos, right? But you have right there California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, where it's all like the density of redness is there, right? Okay. The connection is this right here. Okay. What do they all have in common? All of these people here. The governor of California is Gavin Newsom. He's a Democrat, right? The governor of Arizona is Katie Hobbs. She's another Democrat. The governor of New Mexico, I think I spelled governor wrong. Apologize. I see the typo there. Is Michelle Lujan Grissom. She's a Democrat. Okay. The governor of the great state of Texas is Greg Abbott. He's a Republican. But what do they all have in common? Can you guys tell me? Like, you look at that map as well, the demographics density, right? What are all these whites, these governors, okay? The leaders of state, what do they all have in common? What's one thing? Make the comparison with that map where there's the highest population, there's border states, right? They're all Catholics. They're all Roman Catholics. But I thought this was a Christian nation. I thought they had conservative Christian family values. But yet the leaders of these states are all Catholic. That's the funny part. Doesn't matter if they're Republican. Even if you go into Florida, Ron DeSantis, he's another Roman Catholic. They got a lot of immigration from these Catholic nations, people from Cuba and Puerto Rico and all this stuff, right? Interesting how that works. They're letting them all in. It's a wink, wink, nod, nod agreement. That's it. Yeah. Yeah, you sound like that gay Blaxican fool, man. It's crazy. Because it's like, I heard some shit in the Dominican, like, am I playing any, what's that cat's name? Any a Dembo or where's the music at? Where's the Dominican music I'm playing? I'm playing some Brazilian music. That's what I was playing actually right there. I'm playing some Brazilian music, Sepultura. That's some Brazilian heavy metal. Shout out to them. And the Cavalera brothers, they're Italians. Sure, a lot of Brazilians are. And yeah. So yeah, look at that. Yeah, you look at the connection there with this map here, and or with the image here with all these governors, right? And then you look at the map right here, like, oh, okay, yeah, it makes sense. Makes perfect sense. Yep. That's what you got. But how does it happen? I mean, because see, that's at the macrocosmic level, the state level, right? How does it happen though? The will of the people and how these politicians, do they just kind of just do the people just go along with it? Do they accept it, or are they willing participants in it? They're willing participants in it. I saw this guy, this same account. This guy puts here, this is the truth that everyone can see. White men want the Mestizo women to breed with. And they want the Mestizo men to be a non-competitive, subservient labor / guard dog class. Remember, they're going to fight the blacks. They're going to be more anti-black than the damn whites. That's the crazy part. While they're listening to, hip hop and all that shit, and but they're going to be hating the blacks more than the damn whites. You go to California, you're like, interesting. I know it's different on the East Coast. That's why there's beef between Mexicans and Puerto Ricans, because the Mexicans think the Puerto Ricans are more so black or black identified, or all. We get it, right? I'm curious, like these mulattoes who are Dominican, like you see what's going on, like you want to go along with the Mestizo agenda. That's interesting. But we go to your countries, we examine your environment, the politics, and we're like, okay, I see what's going on. The mulattoes ain't really pulling weight and pushing weight out there like that, right? It's the American mulattoes who are really pushing shit. And that's just the facts. I don't see these other channels talking like this. And then I put here, they are the most willing pets for daddy white men. And he puts right here, this guy says, when a race gives its women to white men, like mestizos and East Asians, immigration goes under the radar. He made this meme or whatever. Has some like Asian guy here who's saying, assimilate like us and be accepted by whites, be the model minority. And because the guy who created this, he's an Indian guy who's behind this account talking shit on Mexicans, But it's a factual meme. It's something I have observed from my experience being from California, even living in Las Vegas, etc., traveling. Where they have an agreement, like the Mexicans, the mestizos, they're not bothered by seeing a brown mestiza with a white guy. But if they see that same brown mestiza with the black guy, the Mexican gets upset. Have you guys noticed that bias right there? Right? Because it's a trade-off. It's a trade-off. Everything this guy was saying is true. Like it goes under the radar. They give the women of their race and they get cucked out by these whites. But it's a trade-off. The white's like, okay, don't challenge me for power, authority. Just kind of know your place. I'll hire you. Because the whites are like, oh, I'll hire you. You can clean my toilet or whatever. You can mow my lawn. I'll hire you, but you just got to let me get access to the chick there. And then And I put right here, the proof is in the pudding from the horse's mouth. I saw someone, is a white guy, who put this tweet right here or whatever, reposted on X. He put right here, it's a white dude. He says, I'd rather have white people, but at least Mexican women can be decent. Their food is great. They are Christians. Correction, they are Catholics. Okay, there's another dumb fucking Christ cuck who doesn't even adhere to the biblical message anyways. Most of you are a bunch of fake Christians. That's why I don't even take you people seriously like that. He says they don't smell. They like to drink. They like to drink and party. Cool. And they don't finge intelligence like Indians do. A Mexican knows he's an idiot. An Indian is an idiot who thinks he's a genius. That's how these whites look at him. That is crazy. They talk shit about you, but they're sitting there like, at least a Mexican knows his place. He puts right here, a Mexican knows he's an idiot. And he's like, oh, but an Indian is an idiot who thinks he's a genius. That is crazy words. And they're so bold and confident. And what did he start off with? He started off with the women. He said, I'd rather have white people, but at least Mexican women can be decent. See, it's all about the women. But you notice like the Mexicans in the chat or the little Blaxican fruitcake, Like they're not going to talk about that. They complain about black guys and passport bros, but they never talk about these white guys who are doing the same exact thing, have been doing it for years, who literally built the whole kind of market. The white guys built the market so the black guys can come along and partake. That's why the biggest cucks are these white guys who will pay a black guy to bang their white wife. That's how disgusting the depravity is. You look at this guy, Adam 22, this podcaster, and he's one of many. Don't be fooled. Like you just want to act like he's just one guy. He's weird. No, there's a lot of them out here. Okay. These white guys who are cuckolds who want to watch their white wife or girlfriend, whatever, get banged out by a black dude. That is some sick deviant shit. So these guys, yeah, they already built these markets and tourism and stuff. And hey, the black guy, come along, support my business. I got a business down there, you know. What's funny, I'm saying, because the Mexican mestizos, they never complain about their white massa. They only complain when the black guy is like partaking in it. You guys notice that, right? Notice that. This guy right here is saying he'd rather have white people, but at least the Mexican women are decent. At least they got some decent hygiene. And he's trying to fucking like pretend, oh, they're Christians, they're Catholics, homie. Their allegiance is to the Pope, who right now is an American, but it's the Roman Empire. It's the institution, okay? And then he says right here, like the icing on the cake, a Mexican knows he's an idiot, but an Indian is an idiot who thinks he's a genius. He's competing with Indians because they make more dollars, their household income, as a group, a demographic, more than any other group, because they basically pull their resources together. The guy replies to my comment. He says right here, they like to drink. They worship Rabbi Yeshua. Yeah, they're Christian. They're fake Christian. They're Catholics. They worship the Pope and these saints and Mother Mary and all this other shit. They're not Christians, And he puts right here, I have a fetish for their females. Yeah, that was the number one thing, right? Fetishizing the women. He puts right here, they are subservient idiots. They're not threatening idiots. That is the key thing. Like he said, oh, well, they're dumb, but at least they know they're dumb. He put here a Mexican, this is a white guy speaking or typing. He put this comment. White guy says, a Mexican knows he's an idiot. An Indian is an idiot who thinks he's genius. And he's put right here, yeah, they're subservient idiots, not threatening. Yeah, that's why I see they're upset because they know that a lot of these Indians, they're going to practice group economics. They're going to build their own enclaves. And they're going to stick to their own, marry their own women. They're not trying to assimilate with whites like that. And so they can't be absorbed by whites the way these mestizos are absorbed by whites. They create Castizos like Fuentes, running around, and they're upset by that. They're losing kind of influence. And he puts right here, literally precisely the arguments, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's all laid out right there. This is something I've been known as well. That is the whole process of assimilation. And I'm going to put the icing on the cake as well. I have an image here I want to share with you. There's a fight coming up, a UFC fight, right? And it's the guy who's supposed to represent America. He's an American. He's proud American, representing American, is a Castizo. You got right here. Justin Gaethje. He's got I believe, Italian father, if I'm not mistaken. And his mother is a brown mestizo Mexican. He's from Arizona. We shared the map with you, right? We talk about people of Mexican descent. You're like, he doesn't know what the fuck he is. Are you white American? Are you a Mexican American? Are you both? What the fuck are you? He's whatever you want him to be. But of course, the same people look at you and say, you're a mutt. The same people were looking at you, bro. We're like, wait a second. Do we have new vocabulary that we can introduce to this conversation? Because I'm trying to figure this shit out. Like, are you white or are you Mexican? Or you're both? That's cool. I acknowledge that. But do you return the favor? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not asking you to return the favor, to be honest with you. We're just analyzing this. Very interesting, though. Yeah, but this is your representation, right? This is it, the Castizo, and he's going to fight a Spanish guy. I think he's Georgian Spanish, Ilia Topuria, in the White House lawn, at the White House. It's called the White House for a reason. You got Donald Trump, right? Who's sponsoring, I guess, yeah, for sure, a government-sponsored kind of sports event on the White House lawn. And, the guy who is supposed to represent America. He wears the American flag. He's got a brown Mexican mom. right? There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. Did everything I explained, does it make sense? The Catholic connection, the Mestizo connection, servants of white supremacy. And you got them buck wild, a couple of them up in my chat. All they're complaining about is women, about passport, bro. You don't like American women. You like the DR. You wish you were Dominican. No, I don't wish I was Dominican. Sorry. I love Dominicans. I like Dominicans, but I'm not Dominican. And that's, I think it's a false statement. I've seen a couple of Dominicans try to make that. Oh, people wish they were us. Nah, bro, we don't. I'm not from New York, homie. I'm from California. Nah, we don't. And it's no shade. I like you guys. I have a lot of respect for you. And I think it's mutual with a lot of them. But you have these like Mexican Hispanics who are using this like pro-Hispanic and pro-Catholic shit, jumping into our conversation, trying to basically sow seeds of division. And that's what we got to kind of call out, right? And we are doing it right now. This is just basically the beginning of it. We're going to continue doing this. And yeah, if you guys like the content, hit the like button. Why not? Yeah. There's so many comments. I don't think I can get to all these, but yeah, you put Mexican women in Cali, Las Vegas are ugly. That's why they go white and black American males. You sound like an incel. Mexican women in Cali and Vegas are ugly. You're not getting pussy, bro. Like the hottest Mexican chicks are in California. You're not getting pussy. You just told on yourself, bro. So like, why? And you want to jump on my panel? Let me get you out of here, because like just that statement alone. And the thing is, if you're a Mexican from Cali, like, aren't you going to check this fool? Like, and he's not even one of you guys, man. This fool's a fucking Blaxican. He's not even one of you. And he's talking shit on your women. And I'm saying, like, yeah, the Mexican chicks are some of the prettiest women. I've been with a lot of them. I'm from California. That's like the majority there, right? But this guy out here is literally saying that those women in Cali or Vegas are ugly. Like, what? Where's your chicks at, bro? The hottest chicks in America are in Southern California or Southern Florida, for sure. In some of these other big cities, yeah, that's for sure. But just that right there, it's like, I can't even entertain you, bro. You're full of shit. Pardo, but not biracial Americans, they are ugly. Yeah, you're the Blaxican guy. Yeah, you got to pay, bro. You're gonna hit my Cash App up or what? You got to hit, yeah. Because to me, I'm gonna treat you just like Bantu interlopers at this point. Because you're worse than them, to be honest with you. Be honest with you, bro. Your own folks probably aren't even fucking with you, because even the chicks, like there was some Dominican chick who met. She's mulatto identified. I think she has an Irish parent, Dominican parent, and she messaged me and was basically talking about you, man. How you're ruining it for people in these spaces, especially over on TikTok. So it's funny, you got to come behind your burner account with this weak shit. And you're gay. That's the whole thing. Like, you're gay. Like, you talk crap and generalize women and shit. You said Mexican women who date black and white American males tend to be ugly. Like, you're gay, bro. So let me just stop entertaining this fool, because he's kind of a Fuentes type. I think I have the link drop. Day, you want to hop up on here? Because I'd rather speak to Day, to be honest with you, man. I mean, this guy, this other fool up in here, I'm not trying to, because you just already proved you're gay, bro. Like, you're trying to say all these women in California and Vegas are ugly. Like, you're not getting any tail. Why the fuck would I want to talk to you? There's nothing I could learn from you. There's no information that's pertinent you're going to be able to share. I don't want you over here, bro. What's the point? What's the point? I don't kick it with dudes like you. So we got Day in the house. What's up, Day? What's up, bro? The floor is yours. What's up?
Oh, nothing. I'm just listening to you, cook these Hispanics, what you talking about is real talk though, because I like what you said. I like the comments you read in regard to, he said at least Hispanics know that they're idiots, I think that's so true though, because when I be talking to them, I have conversations with them. I'm not saying that they don't have any intelligent, scholars in their community, but it's like one in a million. It's like one in a million. When I talk to them, my brain starts to hurt, and I start to feel like, did that person really just say what he just said? Because they don't have any. It's like, how do I explain this? It's like, you ever talk to somebody and you try to like have like thoughts of like the future. They seem to not have any thoughts of the future. They're just like, man, I don't know. It's like, bro, you don't know. You don't want to know, man. I don't know about that shit. I can't think. I'm a moron. Oh yeah, that's right. You are a moron. You molons, buddy. I forgot you was an idiot, Julio.
Yeah, it's I mean, the guy just laid it out with this comment, like, and that's what they think of them. They're like, okay, yeah, their women are decent, they have good beer. He's put it here. They like to drink, they got good beer, drinking Coors Light or Modelo. He's like, they're Christians and they're not. They're Catholics. Okay,
It's
and then
crazy. My mom used to say that too. She used to constantly say that. I used to feel like she was being like mean when she would be like, "Oh yeah, they're not Christians," but she's right, because you're right. And my mom said the same. She right, because I used to have a friend back in the day. He wasn't Mexican. He was Panamanian, right? I remember I went to his house. He had all these fucking statues all over the house. I'm like, what the hell? What is going on? And they started like worshiping the shit. And I'm like, I
yeah,
gotta get the hell out of here, bro. This is some like demonic shit.
you know what's crazy about that, bro? The first time I realized how where their allegiance lies, I was in high school and I went to some
Mhm.
illegal alien's house because their kids, their anchor babies, went to the same high school as me, right? So we were cool. I went to their house and I saw a picture on like above their TV because we're in their living room watching it, like the TV, whatever. And a picture, I was like, "Who's that? Who's that?" And the picture, it was framed. The picture was framed. They said, "Oh, it's the Pope." I was like, "Interesting. You got a picture of the Pope there." They had it up there like it was like a Christ figure or the president or a leader. That's
Mhm.
where I started to make that connection where their allegiance is to the Pope, the papacy. Like that's who they revere as a leader. This is like a Mexican illegal alien household, right? And I started to make that connection in high school back then because I'm an American. Like I was raised Christian, both sides, a black side, white side were Christian. And so I wasn't raised like a Catholic. And there's no pictures of popes in my household or growing up or nothing like that. So I started to question my environment and my surrounding. I started to realize, oh, their allegiance is to another foreign entity. Like their allegiance is to the Pope.
You know
And
who
yeah,
else?
that's
You know
and
who
they
else?
worship saints and stuff. It's yeah, go ahead.
Vanguard, you know who else should get this? They're not Hispanics, but I feel like they should be merged in with the Hispanic population because they act just like them. And I'm not gonna lie, they annoy me just as much as Hispanics, and they essentially have the exact same culture as Filipinos. Filipinos have the same ideology, the same mindset. They have the same arrogance of thinking that they're intelligent when they're not. You're a fucking nurse. Like, okay, and you wipe asses. You're not intelligent. But I'm bringing that up because they have the same heavily Catholic culture as well. They think they're so unique when they're just mutts as well. 40 to 50% of their language is in fact Spanish, but yet they love to act like it's so different. And oh my god, I have culture. You have culture, but yet you're coming over here. You have culture, but yet your country wasn't great until America took that bitch over and gave it back to you. Like, if I keep telling, I told a Mexican this at my job. I said, if we took over your country and we forced y'all to speak English and everything, and we got rid of the Latin culture, y'all country would be way better. It's like, no, 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 senor. Yes, senor. It's not just you. It's not just the country. It's not just the leaders. Respectfully, it's Latin culture. Latin culture is bad. It's corrupt, which is why Spain is one of the poorest countries in Europe. Spain is drastically better than all of the Latin countries in Latin America, right? But it's still one of the poorest countries in Latin in Europe because it's the culture. It's indicative of their culture. If Latin America would have been colonized by Anglos, it would have been way better, bro. It would have been like fucking Australia, bro.
I mean, that's interesting. But I don't know if I agree. I mean, you make some interesting points. Just the way of governance, because you look at the correlation, like why is the drug use and prostitution in these like specifically Catholic ruled Latin countries so prominent? Like people could talk about, well, the red light district in Amsterdam, which is primarily Christian, or they could talk about the brothels up there in
It's isolated in one
Nevada,
area though. It's
huh?
isolated. It's the difference, Vanguard, is that it's not socially acceptable and it's isolated in one area. In Nevada, it's all the way far away in the desert. So you have
Yeah,
to
the
drive
ranches.
somewhere.
Yeah,
You have to drive somewhere to get it. And in Amsterdam, it's in the one particular area of the country. It's not
true.
just so it's not like it's socially acceptable. They basically said we're gonna give you a win in this one area, but if you do it anywhere else, you're gonna be prosecuted. I think that's tolerable, but in Latin America, it's not like that. They don't even solve regular crime though. Like if you get killed in Latin America, they're not gonna find that person ever. He could be the fucking mailman. Like they don't. It's just bullshit. Like I don't. They don't have no. They have no concept of law and order. They have no concept of ethics, which is why like if you're going through like let's say you're going from one state to another, right? My sister went to Latin America a couple years ago. She took a road trip from California. She drove all the way to Belize, right? She said when she was just driving through Mexico, she got bribed like 15 times. But people keep talking about, oh, it's great, it's great. You can't go nowhere. If you go, you could go to one of the poorest states in America, go to Mississippi, see if that's going to happen. It won't happen. The police are not going to bribe you, but they will in Latin America.
Interesting. I got Dreamer's Path on the panel. Shout out to you. You joined the panel a couple days ago, I believe, when I went live. You have anything you want to share? Did you tune into the whole
Yes.
stream?
No, I
Sure,
definitely have a few things to share. So
sure.
I saw that tweet that you guys had up just a moment ago. Um, I'm guessing that was an Anglo who posted that, and it was something to the effect of like, I'd rather have Mexicans than Indians. And here's the kind of funny thing, right?
What?
My my hypothesis is I think that there's a kind of, when black people talk about there being a kind of attempt to create a buffer class with like Asians and Hispanics coming to America, they're not actually wrong when they say that when you actually think about it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it's kind of like a twofold thing. It's like by bringing in more immigrants, the black vote will lose power because there will be other demographics to pander to. That's number one. But number two, a lot of these immigrant groups like Asians and Hispanics, they actually will uphold white supremacy, right? So think about what happened in the last election. 50% or more than 50% of Hispanic men voted for Trump, right? So this idea that like, oh, we're going to bring in all these brown people from fucking Mexico and Latin America and Asia, and they're just going to come here and like vote for the Democratic Party and like vote for mass migration, it's totally misguided. And the funny thing is this, right? I know a lot of minorities, especially black people on the left, who, for whatever reason, think that like promoting mass migration to get back at white people is a good idea. But let's all be very clear about something. If you took a black person, the average black person, and forced them to tell the truth, and you said, "Would you rather live in a country of foreigners from Asia and Africa and Latin America and all over the world, or would you rather live in a country of white liberals?" We all know what they would say. Let's be very clear about that. You know what I mean? So I think the whole thing about like this whole multicultural push is totally misguided. And I'll give you guys a perfect example. My grandma and grandpa's side of the family on my dad's side, all of them are from El Salvador,
Mhm.
and they're white Hispanics, right? They're all white Salvadorans. My grandpa's brother or one of his relatives is the second biggest tire dealer in El Salvador. He has like a monopoly on tires down there. They got a whole bunch of land, and so a lot of these people understand the game. When you come to America, a lot of these Asians. Why do you think white man with a Asian woman and a white man with a Hispanic woman is the most common pairing in the country? It's because they're marrying into whiteness so they have access to the benefits of white society. And directly or indirectly, when Asians and Hispanics come here in large numbers and marry into white society, they are, in a sense, upholding white supremacy, or they are kind of reifying white institutional dominance. And that's why, a lot of Black people will never assimilate into white culture in America. And the two macro cultures in America are white culture and Black culture. Those are the two macro cultures in America. Hispanic culture is growing a little bit, but it doesn't have any history in this country. And so nobody is really trying to assimilate into that culture. So when people come to America from other countries, whether it's Asians or Hispanics, they're either assimilating into white culture or Black culture. And most people who come here that are immigrants who are thinking about their own future, thinking about their children's future, thinking about the long term, are going to make a business decision 9 times out of 10, and they'll marry a white person simply because it'll give them social benefits. And so that way of thinking creates a hierarchy in society, directly or indirectly. And so
Can I
the
ask you
point I'm
something?
making is no, I just want to say one last thing and then you can jump in. The
Okay,
point
go
I'm
ahead.
making is like, we just need to be honest about this idea that like all these immigrant groups are going to come here and we're going to have a multicultural, harmonious society. We're going to break down white supremacy. That's just totally wrong. When my grandma, this is the last thing I'll say, when my grandma saw um, my auntie's baby being born, because my auntie, who's Salvadoran, she married a white man from the USSR, from the Soviet Union. When they had their kid, they were like, "Oh, blanquito, yada yada yada," right? Which means like cute white baby with the blue eyes. So
Hmm.
these people, they like prize whiteness, in a large way. Black people don't really have. I mean, a lot of black people do prize whiteness, but like that ego and that ethos, which is so heavily baked into black culture, is all about resisting whiteness. You know what I mean? And there's not really, at least in this country, there's not really, if you're an Asian or a Hispanic, there's not really any social benefit to basically taking up the fight against white supremacy with a bunch of black people and this kind of economic underclass where you can just marry a white person and get access to white society and all the benefits that come with that. So that's all I had to say.
Do you think, Dream? I think everything you said, you gave a lot of truths. You gave a lot of insights uh into what's going on. I see this in the real world is that I've seen Hispanics and Asians specifically speak of what you're talking about. Speak of specifically looking out to date white people, right? Well, one thing,
Yes.
but I think that that can only continuously happen if white people, and I think they will, if they continuously see them as others, right? The thing with black people in America, why black people have a slight, I mean, black people get more obvious racism towards them, but the thing why black people have a little bit better of a situation, even African immigrants when they come here, is that black people are not seen as immigrants. Even an African, if they're here, right? If an African can blend in and can if they can like blend in with the and they can talk colloquially like a black American, then they won't be seen as an immigrant, right? But a Mexican or an Asian, they could live here 3 generations, and a white person is not going to see them as an American.
In many cases, this is true. Absolutely. That is one of the benefits. And that's what I was saying. Like the two macro cultures in this country is Anglo Protestant culture and Black American culture. Those are the two macro cultures in this country. They're the only places, in my personal opinion, where Hispanic culture will ever have any purchase or will ever have any kind of influence is going to be in the Southwest, specifically
Yeah,
places like California, New Mexico, Arizona, and obviously Texas. I myself live in Los Angeles. And to give you an example, going back to 1970, Los Angeles was about 19% black. Today, Los Angeles is about 8% black. And by 2050, it's predicted to be about 5 to 6% black. So the amount of black people in this region of America is going to go down. Arizona, New Mexico, California for sure. Texas, I'm not sure about because Texas borders all those southern states. There's a lot of black people in Texas.
Dreamer, it gets even hot. It gets even more extreme when you look at it on a more specific level. So when you look at South Central LA, which I have family from over there, South Central LA
Same.
it used to be over majority black. It used to be 90%, right? And the Hispanics
Hmm.
came in and they essentially ethnically cleansed the black population, right? So
Right.
now you have a lot of black people moving to Lancaster, Victorville, and stuff of that nature, Hawthorne,
Yep.
or they might be going back even further. Like my family's from Mississippi, and they're all moving back
Same.
down. They're all moving back down south because uh they just can't really get along. And like the Hispanics and down the Hispanics in California, like Vanguard was saying, it's a different type of Hispanic than the ones in the East Coast. I have family in the East Coast as well, New York, DC, and everything. And the Hispanics out there are cool. I don't have no problem with them. They're cool. They're not like they're not racist. They don't have this vitriol.
Well,
But
they're not Mexicans. They're
well, I
not
know, yeah.
Mexicans.
The mestizos they don't even pretend not to like black people. It's like in their everyday
Really?
conversation. No, they don't. It's
Well,
obvious.
let me just say this. It's hard for me to accept that because like I have been living here for several years for most of my life, right?
Hmm.
Um, I lived in Diamond Bar, Walnut Heights, or Diamond Bar, Roland Heights, and Walnut. And if you know anything about those areas, that's like all Chinese and Korean. So like my entire childhood, when I was in pre-K, first grade, it was like I was like the only biracial kid, mixed kid there. Everybody else was Asian or like white and Hispanic, right? I
Hmm.
never had a problem getting along with the Asians. Never. I don't have any negative memories going back to my childhood. And then growing up, when I was going to school in the South, when I was basically hanging out around mostly white people and black people, those were the two groups I always had the most issues with, whites and blacks, every single time. Then when I moved back here in 2021 and I started making a bunch of Mexican buddies, I never had issues with Mexicans. Never. Never in my life. I mean, there's a lot of Mexicans who will say nigga or say the N word. And, you know, there is Mexicans out here who are low key racist, but
It's
like,
not.
and
It's not the individual things. It's more so like they can be,
culturally.
yeah, like they can be cool and like kicking it with them, but they usually always say like they say like just disrespectful comments. But if we say something in response, then they get an attitude and they want to. And the thing is, we can't really do anything. We have to let shit slide because their numbers are just so overpopulated compared to ours that what the fuck can we do, right? And even so, like if we want to call ourselves black,
Well, that's in the West
then it's
Coast.
even it doesn't matter what we want to call ourselves. We want to call ourselves black or mixed or mulatto. We're outnumbered either or. And if we're in the East Coast, it's a little bit more evenly distributed. You know, I would say that not by there's not a lot of Mexicans at all, but I'm talking about Hispanics and blacks. It's little evenly distributed, and the Latinos
No,
on the
like
East Coast.
I
Uh-huh.
I get I don't know. I just this like I know that this is a narrative and I've definitely seen it. Like there is obviously a lot of colorism in the Hispanic community,
What
but
makes you think that they're hold on, drink? What makes you think that they're not the way I'm saying? Do you think because they listen to rap music that they're somehow cool, or
no,
because they
it
get their hair lined up that they like black people?
no, but I mean I've seen plenty of hoods. I mean I delivered in Los Angeles for basically most of the time that I've been here. And when I would
Uh-huh.
go to Florence Graham, when I would go to Watts, when I would go to Vermont, when I mean the hood, when I had to deliver there, I saw blacks and Mexicans hanging out everywhere at the
No, I didn't say
schools
they.
and
I'm not saying they don't. They do, but okay, okay. Put it like this, right? Charleston White said this, right, and this is true, right? He said you could be best friends with a Mexican, right? But let you start liking his sister. See what the fuck gonna happen. That happened to my brother, right? My brother, he was best friends with a Mexican, right? Cool all throughout elementary school, middle school, high school. When he got out of high school, his sister started liking him, and then my brother started dating her, right? Then all of a sudden he started being all types of niggas and everything by dude. I'm like, what the
Yeah,
fuck, bro?
that happened to
It's
me. I
interesting.
mean, that happened to me as well.
no, yeah, that actually
One of
does
my
sound that actually does check
well, no,
out to me, I
it's
think.
even checking
But
out in the
here's what I'll
chat.
say, and this
Wait,
might be
hold up
you
though.
let me know how you feel about this. Do you think that that could
Hold up,
maybe
hold on. Let
hold up.
Vanguard.
It's even checking out in the chat because when you look in the chat, what's the argument that this fruitcake's making about like sex and women? Do you see Mexican men trying to get with Black American women? Yes, I do. He says, nope, they are ugly. Everything's about like dating and women with these guys in the chat. So yeah, it does check out because I have firsthand knowledge. I had a friend, one of my old sparring partners I went to high school with. was a good friend of mine. And as soon as he seen me with like one of his friends, Mexican chick, we're making out at the bar, like he got bothered by that. See, like we'll play pool, we'll drink, we'll smoke, we'll work out, we'll box, and we're cool. But as soon as he sees me macking on a Mexican chick, all of a sudden he feels a certain way about that. It's
Exactly.
very real.
Also,
I just had to say
Vanguard.
that.
Also, Vanguard. Take it a step further, right? They're able to participate in Black and mulatto culture, right? Even white culture, right? They're able to participate in it, right? If we participate in their culture, if we make a song with Spanish music, they're gonna cuss us out for 10 minutes straight. We can't do none of it. We can't participate in none of their culture. They're gonna have a problem with it. But they can dress like they can act like they're black every day of the week. They can sad, they can do everything, they can get their hair lined up, do all that, right? But if we participate in any of their culture, oh, why you're black, you're black. You're not.
I don't know. I don't know. Like I don't mean to like. Here's the thing, right? Like I don't mean to dismiss what you're saying. I approach these kinds of things with hesitancy because you look at things on the internet and you don't even know if that's like
No, this is
totally an
real.
accurate represent.
This is real life, bro.
Okay,
I live in the
okay.
Bay Area. I live in a city that's like 40% Hispanic, right? And I see this all the time and everything, right? Literally, like 3 years ago, right, when I was on the BART, which is like the subway of the Bay Area, right? I had a fucking Hispanic call me a dirty mulatto on the train, right?
Oh wow.
All you know why? You know why he called me that? Because I wasn't letting him talk to a fucking child. Because that's another thing that they do. They like to talk to little kids and shit. And I told him not to do that, and then he called me a fucking dirty mulatto. So then that was in broad daylight. That was in front of everybody. So I mean, like, black
I'll
and
say
brown people
this.
listening, right?
I don't know because here's the thing, right? I've gone out with multiple Mexican girls, multiple. Now I was in college at the time when I met these ladies. But every time that I've met them or been around their family, I don't think I've ever once in my life. Then again, they didn't have a bunch of brothers, so that changes things a bit. But when I met their families, never once did they have an issue with me. And maybe, and I'll just say this in fairness, maybe it's because I am, to be fair, a bit whitewashed, and I am a bit of a square, and like I dress. I mean, when I go out, I wear khakis and quarter zips and stuff like that. So maybe that changes people's perception of me. I don't present myself very, I guess, black for a lack of better words. And so maybe there's like a subconscious effect to that where they just look at me a little bit differently. They hear the way I speak. I'm also part Hispanic. You know what I mean? So maybe that helps
Well,
me.
that
I'm
that that
half
that
Salvadoran. So,
that makes
huh?
that makes a huge difference.
Yeah,
You might
I'm
have
half Salvadoran. So,
yeah, that makes a huge difference and stuff because you're part of them. The same way a white dude that
yeah,
doesn't
my
like
dad's
black,
Catholic.
yeah, the same way that a white dude that doesn't like black people, let's say he has grandkids, right, and his grandson is mulatto, right? He may hate black people, he may hate mixed people, but he's gonna love his mixed child. He's gonna love his mixed grandchild because he's part of him and stuff. And also he can give it a he can kind of like rationalize it because he's like, well, he's also half white. That's how they kind of rationalize it. That's how I look at it. But when it pertains to, let's get back on track, at least what Vanguard was trying to say earlier, right? When you're talking about the
That
relationships and
broader
stuff.
attitude is still
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. But specifically, I'm gonna get back on track to what Vanguard was talking about when he was talking about the relationships with the women and stuff, right? I think that those happen in large scales because white people they see them and they're like, well, you already have white in you, so if I have kids with you, the kids are gonna just look white. So they don't really see that as same reason why I don't think white people have a problem dating mulattoes either because they see us as already they don't see us as white, but they see us as being, well, you already have white in you, if that
I
makes
think that
sense.
that's probably true. I mean, I would agree with that. I mean, it's like the thing with the marrying of the mestizos. It's like, yeah, they might find the women physically attractive, especially if they're because there's a lot of, let's to be fair, a lot of Mexican women who are not white. A lot of them are brown or even dark brown. But let's just take for example the lighter skinned ones. They
Hmm.
might like them, they might like the women, but they're going to force the women to basically give up their culture. It's like, okay, I think the women are attractive, but like that culture, like we're not raising our kid to really embrace that culture. Like we're not doing the whole Mexican culture thing because a lot of, let's just be fair, a lot of people kind of look down on it. They think it's a bit maybe ghetto
I
or
mean,
something like
but
that, or third worldish.
I mean, that's true. I agree with you on that. But uh,
Like they'll
in
take the
order
women but reject the culture basically
in order to really do that though, because I do know a couple of people in my life who
to
are
whitewash them.
yeah, I do know a couple people in my life who are half Hispanic and half Anglo, right? And the only time I've ever seen that that it being a
And
success
they
as far
act
as
white.
well, no, hold on. The only way I've seen it be a success as far as assimilation is when that entire Hispanic side of the family is completely cut off, and it's usually impossible for it to be if the mother is, because this is set in stone, but from my experience, you usually get your culture from your mother. The mother is usually the most, because the mother is the one that's raising you, is giving you the cultural dishes and stuff. So the father can tell you, oh, this is what I'm not going to accept and what I am not going to, whatever. But if the mother is cooking Mexican food every day, the kid is going to be heavily Hispanicized. I mean, that's just what it
Yeah,
is,
no,
man.
I agree. I mean, you do have to kind of consciously raise your children to embrace the culture. I mean, my dad, he's Salvadoran, but like I said, he never baptized me and made me Catholic. I wasn't a cradle Catholic. They never taught me Spanish. They never taught me how to cook the cuisine. They didn't really teach me about the customs or the traditions. Um, but I would still say my dad had a far greater influence on my life than my mom. My mom did not raise me in black culture either. And I think that's probably because my mom grew up in California and she's black and she grew up in the exact same area that was mostly Asian and white.
Mm.
So, yeah, I mean,
How many generations has your mom's family been in California? That makes a
it
difference
started,
also.
yeah, it started with my grandfather because my grandfather is from Paris, Texas. So, and
Oh,
Paris, Texas is the South South. Like they were lynching niggas out there when he was growing up. Um,
yeah,
like literally lynching black people out there.
I have a similar kind of experience with my family. So my family has been outside, removed from the South for like 4 to 6 generations. So and they weren't in California first. They were in Chicago and Detroit and Cleveland. So like basically all over the Midwest. And I'm the first person to be born in California in my family. So although the Midwest is not the South, black people in the Midwest, they still have like their culture, because like they have like what I would call like cultural cities where like there's nothing but black people in those cities, where they're like 95-80% of the population. There's no
Hmm.
city in California that's like that. There's no city on the West Coast that's like that.
Well, they're
So
turning it that way. They're turning it that way. I was driving through East LA about a month and about a not a month ago, about 3 weeks ago. Brother, that shit is all Mexican. I mean, like all the buildings. I think, dude, if I had to bet, I would say probably half the people living there are not in the country legally. I
well
mean, you
yeah,
got people.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
they're
what I'm
turning
saying
that
though.
shit Mexican.
That's what I'm saying though, and that's why I've talked about this before, because I used to be very before I got knowledgeable of the mulatto movement and stuff. I used to be trying to be Afrocentric and stuff, and I realized that they don't fuck with me. They don't
Oh
accept me and
God,
everything.
yeah.
I had an
I did the same
identity
thing.
issues, but what's it called? I even met Dr. Umar back in the day, but that's a whole nother thing. But I still do think that for mulattoes and stuff, I think that the best place for us to be would probably be the Midwest or the South, simply because not just because there's black people there, but because black people and white people, we're how do I say this? Most of the mixed people, I'm gonna assume, I could be wrong, but I'm gonna assume most of us are primarily in the South, just due to the fact that that's where most white and black people live. They either live in the Midwest or the South. Like everybody
Uh,
else in the country, they all the other all everybody else, if they live in like California, let's say New York, Washington, Oregon, they're probably a descendant of immigrants. But if you're from like, I don't know, let's say like Ohio, if you're from like Alabama, Mississippi, you're probably a descendant of what do you, yeah, my phone is hella hot. You're probably a descendant of Anglo settlers and African slaves and stuff, right? and there's more of a community, especially in places like New Orleans. I've never been there, but I have some friends that said they went
That
there
shit's
and they.
ghetto.
Well, I mean,
I
I
have
just
family who lives in the Ninth Ward.
I
They live in a shotgun
I'm not
house down there.
going to the hood. You know, I'm bougie as fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck, I look like. I'm talking about like I'm always. Anytime I say anytime, I'm gonna just say this for reference, right? Anytime I use a city for a reference and I use it as like, oh, let's say I say Chicago, let's say I say New York. Best believe I'm not actually talking about living in that specific city. I'm talking about living 30 miles outside of that city in a nice suburb, preferably a gated community. Okay, but point being is that I think that those areas of the country would be better suited than the West Coast. For a point in time, I was thinking about relocating to Seattle, but Seattle was basic like Seattle is like
Hmm.
how people think of how
Yeah, I
people
wouldn't move
describe,
there if I were you.
well, not just the weather. The weather is a whole nother aspect. But when you go to Seattle, so the way people describe California as being heavily Hispanic, Seattle is that way, but for Asians.
See, I'm gonna say something and then I'm gonna ask you a question.
Hmm.
So you said that for mulattoes, the best place to live is either in the South or the Midwest. I have
Hmm.
not been to the Midwest, so I don't know how that is. But as somebody who grew up in the South as a mulatto, I would never live in the South again. That's just me, though. I lived there. I
I'm
did that
talking.
whole thing.
I'm talking
It
about
wasn't
like
worth it.
I'm talking about. It doesn't have to be the deep, rural bullshit South. It could
I
be
lived in
like
Houston, bro. I lived in Kingwood, Texas, which is mostly white. It's a bougie
that's
area,
I'm
but
not.
yeah.
I wouldn't live in Texas. Texas is a. I'm talking about like North Carolina,
Okay, yeah,
maybe
yeah,
like
yeah. Okay, that
South
makes sense.
Carolina.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, okay.
maybe even
That's kind of
yeah. I'm not. I wouldn't. Uh,
yeah. I mean, North Carolina is
say it
actually a
again.
nice place to live. It's funny that you bring up North Carolina. There's a lot of Mexicans moving there now. But I'll say
Yeah.
this: if here's the thing, right? Like it all comes as a mulatto. This is my personal opinion. You guys can disagree. I think it comes down largely to the person that you marry and the circumstances that you grew up in. So two things. One, I think that if you're going to marry somebody who is black, I would probably suggest you should probably move out of California. You should probably move to the East Coast or something. When I lived on the East Coast, when I lived in Virginia, the good thing about it is it borders Maryland and it borders DC, and that is like the hub of like successful, wealthy, entrepreneurial black people in the country. So if you're a mulatto and you want to marry a black woman and raise a black kid, I would just move out there because it's like you can give your kid the traditional black American experience. You can raise them in a nice middle or upper middle class black suburb, send them to a majority black school, send them to a majority black college, have the all black graduation, do that whole thing, right? Really give them like a black American identity, if that's really what you want to do.
Now,
But
I'm going to
if
provide my input. You guys talked a lot. I'm going to provide some input. Okay.
please,
I've said this to a group chat. There's a couple mulatto dudes, or a few of them. I told them, look, and my personal opinion, I think the coasts are going to be the more favorable option
absolutely,
for
I
mulatto
was going to
men.
say that
That
too.
means the East Coast from Florida all the way up to New York, Massachusetts, whatever. And then from California, San Diego, all the way up through Washington State. In my opinion, the coast where there's ocean, that is going to be a more favorable environment for you. The South is not good. I've not really frequent the Midwest, so I couldn't
Well,
really
I'm talking
provide
about the
any
north. I'm talking about
observation.
the north. I'm talking about the Northeast, like
That's white land, bro. That's
Maryland,
all
North
Anglo land.
Carolina.
That's the
Not
okay.
not
The
North
southeast,
Carolina,
yeah.
Virginia. Yeah,
Virginia's good.
that's like
Sorry, I didn't mean to
borderline.
cut
Like
you off.
that's not really. Yeah, yeah. That's like a nice middle ground. I'm specifically saying those areas because it's not the deep south. I can't take the deep south. It's very developed. They have a lot of infrastructure, and the best part is its proximity to the East Coast, to places like New York and Boston and stuff like that. I could never live in a shithole state like Alabama, Mississippi. Absolutely not. I can't do that. It's way too many black supremacists down there and way too many white supremacists down there. I can't do
Now,
that.
it's funny you said that. This guy says Pacific Northwest. That is a very heavily white militia, white supremacist territory. Northern Idaho, Oregon, It's mostly white. And you know, I like Oregon. I've been to Oregon several times, a nice area. But he says make Pacific Northwest mulatto, and I think this gentleman's in Europe. It's going to be a
It's
hard
not enough. It's
stretch.
not enough of us there.
Yeah,
It wouldn't
it's
be
there's
that.
not enough of us there, and I like the Pacific Northwest. It's beautiful. I agree, but like that's like white territory, so it's yeah,
Yeah, and
that's
you
going to be
can
a
tell too
challenge.
because white people they speak in code, right? But when they talk to you, every time they say shit like they'll say shit like, "Oh, I want to move somewhere nice and safe. This just isn't safe for here." They always pick some. They all whenever they say that they're talking about a couple places: Oregon, Washington, North Dakota, Wyoming, Utah. And why is it safe? Because it's all white and preferably all Anglos. They don't
Well,
even
it's
want to live
because their
around. They don't even
culture. I mean, it's the thing. It's the culture, their
I'm
value
not even
system.
mad at it. I'm not even mad at it because it's what they're supposed to do.
They
It's
have a
normal.
they have a value system. They have a code, and other groups need to not be upset with the fact that they cooperate with each other better than most of these other groups. Whose fault is that? How come they can get on code? They can
That's
cooperate better.
true.
Whose fault is that?
Well,
You're
yeah,
gonna be mad at them. You're gonna be
their
mad at
culture.
them that they get along with each other. How are you gonna be mad because they get along with each other and they're on code?
You know what I was thinking? I was thinking a while ago. Obviously, I'm not very religious, but I did grow up in the church, and I know you were talking about this earlier. I think one way that could like codify us, and like create like an extreme, not extreme as in like bad, but extreme like a good movement for the mulatto community is if we had like a framework. If we had like a let's say we had like a religion, right? I'm not trying to be all spiritual and everything, but if we had like a religion that was like specific, it could be Christianity, right? But if we had a Christian ideology specific to mulattoes, kind of like how the Anglos created Mormonism, then I think that would be something that would codify us even more, and it would create more of an identity. Because if you ever been to Utah, which I have, the white people there are very serious about Mormonism. And Utah is like 80% white. It's very white. You could go like a
Can I
whole week without seeing anybody that ain't white.
can I just jump in real quick and just say one thing, Mulatto Vanguard?
Mm.
Okay, I was just gonna say this, right? Because he brought up something that I thought was interesting. He said that he thinks for mulattoes the best place is the West Coast and the East Coast, and that's exactly what I was gonna say. So back to the question of demographics, and people like, oh, we're all individuals, but let's be real. Everybody cares about demographics before they move somewhere. Let's just be honest about that. By 2050, the only groups in Los Angeles that are slated to have a demographic increase is Asians and mixed race people. All right. So there's going to be more Asians and more mulattoes and more mixed race people of other backgrounds, right? The groups that are going to decrease in population is Hispanics. They're going to take the largest percentage hit, but they're not overall population numbers. Blacks are going to decrease, whites are going to decrease. So I think the dating market will be more favorable to mulattoes in Los Angeles in a few years' time. And plus, when we get married and we have kids, and our kids are coming of age in 2050, they're also going to be a part of the demographic majority. This is one thing I swore to God after my childhood, when I grew up as a minority at an all-white school in the South. I promised to God, I said I would never raise my kid somewhere where he's going to be a minority. Never. I would never do that to my kid. He will have to be at a school where like at least 20 to 30% of the people are in his demographic. That's number one. Number two, a lot of it is based on your background. My family has property in California. We have multiple apartments in California, all across the city. That is a cash cow. That is a gravy train. So for me to basically give all that up and marry somebody and then like move to a different state wouldn't even make sense, right? So I think a lot of it is dependent on the kind of material situation that you're in. And then the last thing I'll say is that it also depends on your values. If you're somebody who's kind of like more liberal and you'll marry somebody of any race, then I guess it doesn't matter where you live. You can move anywhere you want. But if you're somebody who cares about having roots, a religion, a culture, a tradition, it kind of would make more sense to marry somebody who is kind of closer to you culturally, and then you can pass on that heritage to your kid. I know that might be a little bit more of a challenge to mulattoes, but you can figure something out. So that's all I had to say.
No, very well said. I appreciate that. Gentlemen, we're almost at the 2 hour mark in a couple minutes. So I am going to close this out, but I do appreciate your guys' input, jumping up on the panel. This is great. It's signifies strength. It signifies that the mulatto consciousness is growing and people are asking questions and they're engaged in a dialogue. So I respect and appreciate you guys. But I am going to
Thank
close
you.
this out now. Yeah, I appreciate you, man.
You too. I'll be back soon.
For sure, man. Thanks for hopping on the panel. I appreciate that. This has been very swell, very swell. I think I kind of covered all bases. Yeah, gentleman from Austria, right? Yeah. Whenever you hit the link, it said the device was not connected, so it was some connection issue. I apologize on that. I don't believe it was anything on my part because it showed you backstage, but it said like a device connection issue or something. But we'll get you up on here, or I'll go live on TikTok and you can hop on there. It's all good. Shout out to you, man. I appreciate your support all the way from Austria, from Vienna. Actually, I've never been to Vienna. I'll say that. I do want to go to Vienna. It's on my list for sure as a European city because I love classical music. And I know Mozart has his footprint there heavily in the city of Vienna. That I've heard a lot about Mozart and his presence there. And so I definitely, Vienna is on my list of European cities to travel to. So shout out to you. I appreciate your support. Yeah, guys, just want to chop it up with you guys and make that connection. And interesting. I'd love to see what comes from this and what other information are people going to share with us, and bringing these connections with this Mestizo, Castizo agenda, how they're closely tied in with white supremacy and how they want to be the guard dogs of white supremacists. They see the emergence of the mulatto class. People are threatened by our presence, especially the men. And very, very interesting. We're going to continue to talk about this. We're not going anywhere. All right. Appreciate you guys tuning in, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.